Let's talk about tracking macros. Some of you have already tried this, and if you're like me, it feels tedious. But hear me out. This is one of the most powerful tools for sustainable fat loss and metabolic health. When people think of tracking food, they often default to counting calories. But here's the thing, not all calories impact your body the same way. Your body metabolizes protein, carbs, and fats differently. That's why tracking macronutrients, your macros, give us a more accurate and strategic picture. Most people think they eat pretty healthy until they start tracking. That's when the truth comes out. They realize they're skipping on protein, eating more fats or carbs than they thought, or not eating enough to support their metabolism. This is why we track. It's not to be obsessive and it's not forever, but it's to build awareness so that you can make intentional decisions and understand what your body actually needs. Let me give you an example. Let's say your goal is to get 30 grams of protein at breakfast. Most people eat 2 eggs at breakfast. Do you know how much protein is in 2 eggs? Only about 12 grams. You need to add some turkey sausage, Greek yogurt, or protein shake to hit that target. Or let's say you want to know how many calories you eat in a day. Most people underestimate it, especially when they're out snacking, eating out, or under stress. Without tracking, you're just guessing. And when it comes to your goals, guessing doesn't get results. So let's break down what macros are. The first one we'll talk about is protein. Protein is king, especially during fat loss. It protects your muscle mass, supports metabolism, reduces cravings, and has the highest thermic effect of food. That means your body actually burns more calories just to digest it. In fact, about 30% of calories in protein are burned during digestion. So eating 100 calories of protein doesn't have the same impact as eating 100 calories of sugar. Most people aren't eating nearly enough protein, especially women. So how much protein should you be eating? Your ideal protein goal is about 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight in pounds. So if your ideal body weight is 130 pounds, that's about 104 to 130 grams of protein per day. Do you think you're hitting that? For now, I just want you aiming for 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal. That's where we'll start. The second one is carbohydrates. Carbs are your body's preferred source of quick energy. They fuel your brain, workouts, and support recovery. We don't demonize carbs here. We just want you choosing the right kinds. So think whole food sources like fruits, root vegetables, squash, and properly prepared grains if tolerated. The third macronutrient is fats. Now let's clear something up. Eating fat does not make you fat. Unfortunately, a lot of us were raised in the low-fat era, or we were told by doctors to avoid fat altogether. But fats are essential for hormone production, brain health, cell membranes, the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K. So the key here is quality. We want to avoid highly processed fats and focus on whole sources like avocado, olive oil, nuts, seeds, pasture-raised animal fats, and fatty fish. And then the fourth thing I want to bring up is fiber. It's technically a carb, but it behaves differently. Fiber feeds your gut microbiome. It supports blood sugar stability, keeps you full, and improves your bowel regularity. For every 10 grams of increase in daily fiber, there's an associated 10% reduction in all-cause mortality. That's significant. Diets high in fiber are also linked to 10 to 15% reduced risk of cardiovascular events, the number one thing that people die from. It can also lower LDL. And if you're a woman who has hormone problems like estrogen dominant symptoms or PCOS, fiber helps eliminate excess estrogen and other hormones. Really, most people aren't eating enough. You want to aim for 25 to 35 grams of fiber per day, which naturally happens when you start increasing protein and whole food carbs like veggies and legumes. If you find that you don't eat much fiber daily, then you don't want to jump from 8 grams to 30 grams in a day. It will probably not make you feel very good, so you want to try increasing by 5 grams per week. And if you're having any trouble figuring out grams and carbs and fats, then just review chapter 1 in your guide. So here's how we'll approach this. We're not going to jump into a full macro tracking just yet. Instead, for this week, your first step is to just track protein only. Look at week 5 handout and use any of the apps that you prefer, MyFitnessPal, Chronometer, or Macro First, and just start logging your next meal. Shoot for 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal. This isn't about being perfect. I just want you to get a gauge of what 30 grams of protein actually looks like. I think you'll be surprised how many meals are carb heavy or fat dominant without enough protein. Once you start to notice these trends, it becomes much easier to make intentional upgrades. So grab that week 5 handout and choose your app, and then let's get started.